Hello, 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 and welcome to another Paul or Nothing spin-off show called Macca in Your Attic, where we sift through the tit and the tat and find the primo Paul McCartney memorabilia and material. If this is your first time watching, what we do here is that me and a guest are going to be going through their attic, as it will, as they highlight 5 interesting, rare, odd, valuable, or sentimental items in their collections, each with a unique Paul McCartney-related story. I'm sure it will be. It's a Paul McCartney item. Or Beatles, perhaps, for this episode. Fortunately, for this format, that requires my guest to be more interesting than me. No pressure. Today, I'm going to be joined by another true Beatles new media newcomer. He's the host of the I Know podcast. Go back and check out my appearance on that show if you haven't already. He is someone whose podcasting career I'm taking great joy in seeing blossom, as well as someone who generates an immense amount of envy in myself privately. His name is Hudson Ranney, and he's here today with me on Macca in Your Attic. Hudson, what's going on, dude? Thank you for coming on.
Oh, I'm happy to be here. I'm doing great. It's a nice, beautiful morning in Vermont.
No, it's the same can be said here in the UK.
I see you've got little elf Macca in the back.
Yeah, no, this side. Yeah, Paul has basically, because for legal reasons now, he has to sit in on all of these podcasts to make sure that I'm not libeling him, essentially. Sorry, Paul.
Or Macca.
Sorry, Paul. Yeah, he's this side. I've got to turn to this side if I'm going to do a joke with that one. But yeah, I've just had my vaccination. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling strong. I was repping all of my Macca gear, as it were. There was nothing more suitable to wear in that situation. But enough about me. When did you start collecting Beatles / Paul McCartney stuff?
Well, so this is kind of a complicated story. I'm actually somebody who got into Lennon's solo career before the Beatles.
Okay, that is very interesting. Yeah.
Now, Sam, are you like a fan of Lennon and Harrison's solo careers?
I know of them. They're like friends of my friends, if you know what I mean. You know, I don't know them in depth.
We need to get you some help, but
I don't know my walls from my bridges. No, I don't. But
you need to hear that album because it's great.
Yeah.
Except for whatever gets you through the night.
I've dabbled here and there. I don't like whatever gets you through the night. So
I can't stand that.
I'm glad we match on that already. But so what was your first Lennon stuff then? How did you come by that?
I got the Imagine album, and then when Pepper 50th came out, I got an original Sgt. Pepper.
Ooh, nice.
It was very mint.
Okay.
Let's say it's not anymore.
Good. You've actually used it. Good to hear it.
Yeah, and I've just collected everything since. My first Paul album was Wings Greatest, followed by Ram and the McCartney album.
That's so strange. You should
and
say
Back
that.
to the Egg.
That's so weird because one of the very first albums my dad gave me was his mint copy of an original Sgt. Pepper. The second album he gave me of Paul McCartney's was Wings Greatest. And then the first 2 that I bought myself with my very own money was the McCartney album and Ram. So you've got off to a very strong start, I must admit. Yeah, I can definitely see
and
the
I've
road.
Enjoyed his whole catalog ever since.
No, that's so strange. That's so congruous. That is. If you folks, if you've too have had your first experience with Pepper and Wings Greatest, do write in the comments down below. What was the first item you ever got with your own cash, whether be it birthday money, pocket money, job here or there? What was the first one that gave you that satisfaction?
I think it was the White Album.
Oh, that's a nice one. That's a nice one. Is that your favorite Beatles album?
Actually, no. It's the United States version of Rubber Soul.
Oh, another one of these guys. It's such an inferior album. I'm sorry. Oh my god.
I can't stand Drive My Car. I can't stand What Goes On.
Oh my gosh. That's 2 of the best songs. Oh, okay. Well, all the goodwill you just earned at the start here has already gone. Oh my god.
It's the White Album today. It'll be that tomorrow.
Drive My Car is one of the greatest album openers in their discography. I don't know what I don't know what you're not hearing there.
What are you drinking? Sour milk tea?
That's very troubling for me. When did you go from someone though who had a couple of items here or there to someone who, you know, you're in the deep end, you're a full-blown collector now?
I think the last 2 years with COVID, I kind of was like, I need to just get stuff. So like when we weren't in lockdown, I would go to the record store and come back with a lot of items. And I live in very rural Vermont. So record stores are an hour and a half away.
Wow. And are they like, say for me, the nearest record stores are all tiny, you know, house-sized places. Is that the same for you, or are these quite big warehousey type places with?
Oh, these are house sizes, but that's where you get the good stuff.
Mm-hmm. No, have you ever asked for anything in particular? Do you have to do any backdoor dealings or like a Beatle fest or anything like that, or have they mostly been legitimate purchases?
They've been legitimate purchases.
Okay, I'll believe you. No, you can't admit to that kind of stuff here that only Kit O'Toole would know about in hotel rooms at Beatle Fest. You know, I've heard the stories.
Are you able to pause, because I totally forgot to grab one item?
Oh well, they'll just be a cut. It's fine. They'll just be a cut. Don't worry. This will just be the light. Well, actually, the people on the Patreon might get this. Take it, Paul. Say what you want. All alone, I sit home by the phone, waiting for you. Sorry, I'm just doing say with Paul there. Yeah, we're having a little duet. Lady Madonna. No, please, not again, Paul. Baby at your feet. Oh. Yeah, the Patreon patrons will enjoy that one, I'm sure.
Those poor Patreon people.
Definitely. So, what is the most fun for you about collecting Beatles stuff? Is it being a completionist and getting all of it, or is it about finding rare items for you?
Since I live in such a rural area, it's very hard to find those really rare items. Like, even like a copy of Press to Play on vinyl is rare to me because I've never seen it.
Wow, that's funny. Yeah, to be fair, the only one I've ever seen, I bought it then and there. So, man, living out in, and that was in a city centre, like the second city of the UK as well. So, I totally feel for you there. What about like online, eBay, Amazon?
No. We'll get to that story in a little bit, actually.
Oh, okay. I'm not going to make you leap forward. Also, I probably should say this for all future guests. If any of these opening kind of pitter-patter questions interrupt a story you've got coming forth, you know, just finger on lips, I'll move straight on to the next one. What is the most expensive item you have? What's the most you've ever spent on an item?
It was, since I'm a cheapo, it was the White Album box set.
Oh no, that's nothing
but
to.
I got it discounted because it's $15 at Walmart now.
Ooh, a discounted Walmart version. That does sound even more tempting.
I actually take that back, and this will be a perfect segue into our first item.
Okay, we're going to go into our first item. Go
on. No, this is not an original, unlike your previous guest. So 2020. I mean, Flaming Pie, first of all, this album is in my top 3 Paul albums. I don't know if you've dabbled into this one yet, have you?
I've dipped my toe. It's very strong. It's a different kind of album. It reminds me more of things like Tug of War, that kind of universal Paul kind of album, but it's definitely very post-anthology. I'll give it that.
I think this is the start of like his career. I mean, I love Off the Ground, don't get me wrong. I love Flowers in the Dirt. Flowers in the Dirt has become really one of my favorite Paul albums in the last couple months, and I hated that album for a long time. I mean, so I hear this is coming out, and my grandma was like, "You want to go get this?" And I'm like, "Sure." So I went to the record store in Rutland, which is an hour from me, and I picked it up.
In Rutland?
Yes.
Where the
Rutland.
Ruttles are from. Oh my gosh. So yeah, you did have to travel far for that one.
But I mean, and I heard this album on iTunes, but it really made me fall in love with it.
Awesome. And is that just the standard edition of the album? Has that got any bonus tracks on it or anything?
No, it isn't, but it's still very sentimental for me because it was the first item that I got on release day.
For me, that would be Egypt Station. It's a very special moment. You know, you are going to remember that album for the rest of your life now. 100%.
I was around when Egypt Station came out. I did not like it enough to pick it up.
Controversial. Flaming Pies in his top 3. Didn't particularly like Egypt Station. Very interesting. Let's have a look at your second item.
So this is kind of an interesting one. This was actually at a newish record store. It is something related to press to play. It's a promo 12-inch of the single press.
Oh, very nice. Oh, I would love that.
It's just got the press video edit on both sides.
The video edit on a 12-inch. That's really cool. Oh.
Yeah, it sounds great. It's at 33 1/3, interestingly enough. And I'll show you the record. Is this an audio? Going to be an audio one too, or just video?
We'll see later down the line. You never know.
Because those poor audio listeners.
Folks, I'm looking at a gloriously shiny vinyl there. And, oh my gosh. I've never really seen that label with Paulie, that kind of rainbow style either.
Yeah, it was only on these 12-inch singles, and Hugh Padgham, email me if you're listening, because I really want to interview you about this album.
Hugh Padgham. If you get Hugh Padgham, I will be very annoyed. I saw the other day you had Julia Baird, and I was like, this kid's got Julia Baird. I'm gonna have to pull my finger out here and step up the game a little bit. So, you know.
Yeah, well, I was the one who did give Tom Denny Sewell's an email.
That's my heart
And
breaks.
another Wings member.
There's a Wings checklist that I think every Beatles podcaster has. It's like, I wanna do it.
But where's Denny Lane? Or Joe English?
Well, Joe English became a minister, I believe. So he's just cracking on with his life somewhere. Probably doesn't want the limelight. Denny is out there somewhere he is a man on the run, quite literally.
Well, so funny story. I actually called the church that he goes to try to get in contact with him. You
called Joe? That's so cool. I see. That's something I thought about doing years ago, but I never had the chutzpah to do it. That's amazing. What did they say? Did they confirm nor deny that he goes there, or?
No, they just said we'll forward your contact information to him.
They must do something about it. They really must. Oh my gosh. Right, let's have a look at the next one then.
So this is actually going to be a Beatles item. And Sam, correct me, you're not a big fan of the early Beatles, right?
I wouldn't say I'm not a fan. I'm just saying comparative to their latter stuff, I'd say I like it slightly less. But A Hard Day's Night is probably in my top 3 or 4, I'd say. So.
But is that for John or?
Oh, Paul's 3 songs on that album are some of my favorites ever.
But the John stuff is strong too.
Yeah, and I'll Be Back is one of my most underrated songs ever as well. It's on Amazon free for me to watch, so I'm probably going to end up watching it today, actually, between recordings.
Yeah?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Despite repeated recordings.
Despite definitely. I can watch A Hard Day's Night, kind of like Jurassic Park or The Wizard of Oz. Like if it's just on,
This is
drop what you're doing.
This might be the most rare Beatles item I own.
The rarest.
So funny story. So I ordered this off of Amazon. I thought, because interestingly enough, all of these 2009 remasters in stereo are out of print now.
Okay.
Same with the monos. But I ordered this, and this is what came.
Ooh. So is that a Japanese mono of Beatles for Sale?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, it's got. Yeah.
That's so cool. I'm actually speechless there. I really want something. I've got nothing outside of the UK and US in my vinyl collection. I need something like that now.
It's in the shrink.
It never been opened, never been played.
No, I didn't have a vinyl copy of Beatles for Sale, so I had to open it and play it. It sounds phenomenal, even though it's a '90s copy.
Is it not a gatefold then? The actual album.
It is.
Yeah, because on the version that I've got, you can't open it from the side of the album. You have to open it up and take it out of the middle when you open it up.
Weird.
Yeah. Maybe that's a UK reprint or something like that as well.
Yeah, but and I'll show the Japanese lyric sheet.
Can you read Japanese?
No.
Okay. Hopefully someone who has just looked at that, who does speak Japanese, will let us know if there are any errors there.
Well, there is. It's in English too.
Insane. No, is that something you want to look into more? Getting
I have a couple more, but they're not all related.
I like the idea of getting a bunch of the kind of Beatles EPs from like Mexico or Italy, and it's like, oh, they just put these 4 songs together randomly, and it's available nowhere else, and it's awesome. It could be like Hey Bulldog, a song from Pepper, a song from the White Album, and then Get Back, and it's just an EP in this random country. Definitely worth something getting into.
Next item, sealed back to the egg.
Sealed back to the egg. Is that an original?
Yep.
Original sealed. That's pretty cool. That's going to be worth something someday, son. That is.
Yeah. This album is just fantastic. Lawrence Juber is one of my favorite people to talk to.
Totally.
Yeah. Didn't you interview him when you first started out?
Yeah. Oh no. He's one of those guys that kind of helped validate my sense of being a podcaster, I guess. The nicest man in podcasting as well. He's just so giving and so kind. And
I would love to I think that him and Denny and Steve should have a Wings podcast and tell stories. Wouldn't that be the coolest thing?
My gosh.
I want to get the two of them on at the same time.
My gosh. The stories they'd have. I mean,
I know Denny Sewell and Steve Hawley are best friends.
Okay, that's awesome. And then you get Joe English on for an episode, and oh my gosh, that'd be amazing. You could even get the McCartney kids on if you were lucky enough. Their childhood memories of going around with the band and stuff.
I have my ways.
The Wings podcast. I mean, it could even be just one of those limited run ones. It's just going to be 10 episodes. It's not going to be anything crazy. It's not going to go on for 10 years or anything. I think the fans, they'd lose their mind, and so would MPL, so would Apple, so would Capital. They would not be happy about that at all. I mean, when I spoke with Denny around the time when you spoke with Denny Sywell, he was like, yeah, there was one time Linda wasn't there, and Paul told us some kind of boyish stories about his Beatles days and stuff like that. And I imagine the same would go for Paul's Wings days. There are probably stories that he wouldn't want to be released. you know, whatever was being taken during the Wings Over America tour, what was or wasn't being smoked or hidden inside nappies and stuff like that, you know. But
it's all too much.
It's all too much for me to take, especially with all those lawyers breathing down our necks. Pressing on to play, though, what's the next entry? What else have you got to show me?
Okay, so this is another 12-inch single. I know this is your next like big album episode.
Oh, here we go. Not another one. No, don't. Oh, fantastic. This is the first thing on the show that I've actually got. I've actually got one of these. This is a fantastic record. I love this stuff.
This is the Deliverance Dub mix.
It's so good. It's so good.
I hate the Deliverance Dub mix, but Hope of the Deliverance is like a top 20 McCartney solo song.
100%. It's very strong. But this dance stuff it's in my top 10 kind of McCartney songs to put on for your friends who don't like McCartney, and you can kind of trick them into just listening to a bit of McCartney.
Those friends don't exist.
Oh, no. Check My Machine's one of them. Secret Friends, one of them. Appreciate you can put on and people kind of vibe with it. A lot of the Firemen, and that
Just put on despite repeated warnings to
isn't it? So on side A, it's just Deliverance, and then side B, you've got Hope of Deliverance, and then another one just called Deliverance as well.
The Deliverance Dub mix.
The Deliverance Dub mix, yeah.
And I'm working on something with Julian Mendelson, I will say, the producer. Have you had him on?
I was waiting until the interview he did on Two Legs had died down a little bit, but I've still got a lot to do before I actually cover Off the Ground, so I'm sure I'll speak to him at some point.
You're gonna do that later this year.
Hopefully, I'm trying to get something with Robbie McIntosh at the moment. That's something that I wanna focus on. If anything would spur on the Off the Ground episode coming out a little bit quicker, it would be that, because at the end of the day, these Macca in Your Attic episodes, they are fantastic for me because I spend so long editing Paul or Nothing and writing the notes for each episode. Whereas for this, I've got a little formula. I've got a little bit of homework for you as the guest to prepare before you come in. And then the episodes just go out. And that's something I've wanted for ages. So that's
what my show is. It doesn't get edited.
See, it's a gift and a curse because
I also have a 12-year-old computer. It works to record Zoom calls, but editing a video, unless I absolutely have to, takes very long.
The YouTube editor has gotten a little bit better recently, but it's still not what it was like 10 years ago. When I was a wee lad, when I was your age, you basically had a primitive version of Final Cut Pro for free on YouTube. But I don't think anyone wants that wants that to happen anymore. I'm afraid. But doing this kind of format is something that I've been wanting to do for ages, and the fact that I can get so much content out there as possible is it's different for Paul or Nothing, really, considering that the main episodes, something like Off the Ground, is normally going to take a couple of weeks to research, a couple of weeks to listen to the album properly over and over again till I go insane. And then editing it, which could be like a 4-hour conversation with Ken Michaels or something. That takes so long. It takes so long. And I have so many digressions, like you can see right now. But yeah, the Steve Sanderson remix, excellent pull. I'm finally glad that I've actually got one of the items that someone's pulled. That's awesome. Finally, dude, your final item.
Now I do have to check because I'm pretty sure it's this one. No pun intended. All right. Yes, it's this one. It's a Beetle boot.
Oh, okay.
Really, it's the Melbourne Festival.
Ah, you know what? I think this is the first poster we've had on Macca in Your Attic thus
This isn't a
far.
poster. This is a record.
Oh, sorry, it's a record. The Melbourne Festival. When's the what year? What year? Sorry, is this?
64. But the interesting thing about this,
I actually don't know what this is. I'm so embarrassed, Hudson. Please go into detail, please.
I just saw these at the record store. Well, I think my grandma got them for me for Christmas, but I knew that they existed. But if you look very close, you can see that there are just 4 grooves, and there's 5 songs. So it's missing a song.
Oh wow! So it's a misprint then.
Yeah.
And is that quite rare then? Because I've never come across a misprint in real life at all.
I don't know. I do have a couple other misprints, non-Beatles related. But yeah, that kind of concludes my show and tell.
Show and tell. Yeah, we actually don't have show and tell here in the UK, and I was very upset because I dreamed of telling a class about my Tyrannosaurus toy and going into detail about how it's scientifically inaccurate and how it probably had feathers and boring them to death with it. It would have been really fun. But thank you, Hudson. Thank you for showing me all of that stuff. You know, I think it's kind of unfair because you are going to be between Andrew Brooks and Andy Nichols, 2 people who have been collecting McCartney and Beatles stuff for probably 3 times the amount of time you've been alive cumulatively, you know? And
it goes with somebody that likes knives.
Yeah. No, Ethan and I both have the same kind of problem as well. We are still relatively young collectors without our own spaces to call our own and fill up with stuff. We are still filling up other people's spaces with all of our crap as well. So, hey, I'm sure I would have you back on in the future to, you know, see how your collection has been expanding, as it were, Hudson. But are there any other little items you want to just quickly go through before we shoot off?
I think that's it. So that's
Cool.
pretty interesting.
Awesome. What other misprints do you have, just in case? I thought you can't leave me hanging there.
I think it's a Stones misprint. Like it's missing a couple songs on.
Awesome.
An
All right.
album.
Awesome. You a big Stones guy?
The hits.
I'm exactly the same. I have no desire to get into the Stones all that much. But hey, dude, thank you so much for coming on the show. Where can people find your stuff?
So just go to YouTube. Anchor does not like me. I should just be a big kid and pay for Podbean. But just search up Hudson Ranney on YouTube and my podcast will come up. Please subscribe to the channel. I'm almost to 100 subscribers. I'm at 95. Awesome. If you want to, you can email me at iknowpodcast@icloud.com.
Awesome. Links will be down below for that. I also saw you're doing something with my man Dylan at the moment as well. You're doing a little spin-off show with him as well. What's all that about?
It's just called the Whatever Podcast. We could be talking about food one month. We could be talking about a book. It's really whatever I want to do.
Cool.
Could be debating Apple versus Windows sometime.
Intense. I'm looking. I've already dabbled in the first 2. Dylan is my boy. I will.
What are you and Dylan working on?
We can't exactly say. Some people on the Patreon might already know to some degree. But on that note, Hudson, I think we both have to shoot off actually. So I will just say thank you. Thank you so much for coming on, man. It has been a real pleasure going through your attic, and I'll see you around on the webs. Hopefully I'll see you on Paul or Nothing, the proper pod, at some point as well. Till then, Take care, man. Peace and love.
Take care.
Peace and love.